What is up, and welcome to the 49ers Camelot Show. It's been a while since I've been here by myself. Been busy with other things, writing for 49ers Web Zone, and also do the weekly Red and Bold show with Anthony Robertson of 49ers Cutback. But hey, here I am today. Want to talk a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but just want to do some quick talk about the 49ers schedule. Now, if you're watching this and you're in the comments, unfortunately, I'm still trying to figure some things out because I'm making some changes here. And so at this point, I'm not doing this actually live. This is a pre-recorded pretend live thing. So that's all right, though. So if I don't get to your comment, that's the reason why I'm not ignoring you. But I want to jump into this 49ers schedule because there's some interesting things that I wanted to point out. The first is that for the first time in a few years, the 49ers actually have a positive rest advantage. Guy Haberman put on X that he's got the 49ers at a +9 on rest advantage, that they're finishing the season with 8 of 10 opponents coming off road games. So we know that the last couple of years, they've been at like a -20 rest advantage. It's been bad. And it's shown. I mean, not so much in 2023. They played well, but at the same time, down the stretch, they did struggle some. And so at this point, it's good to see that the things have kind of turned their way, and there are going to be some teams that are coming in more tired than the 49ers have been the last couple of years, or maybe around that at least not as tired or more tired than the 49ers should be in 2025, if I can figure out the right way to say that. They're also not playing any teams coming off of a bye. So last year, what did they play, like 4 or 5 games where the other team was coming off of a bye? So that's going to benefit them this year, and that's one of the reasons why Guy Haberman said that they're at a +9 on rest advantage. So that's one of the first things that jumped out to me. The next thing is that they have 4 Eastern time zone games. Now, only 3 of those are early starts, which we never like that. I mean, when you're a West Coast team and you have to fly to the East Coast, or at least the Eastern time zone, because one of those games is against the Indianapolis Colts. They're not an East Coast team, but they are in the Eastern time zone. The 3 early starts are in Tampa against the Bucks, in New York against the Giants, and in Cleveland against the Browns. Again, the Browns aren't all the way to the East Coast, but they are Eastern time zone. The Colts one's not as big of a deal because it's a Monday night game, so that should benefit the 49ers. It shouldn't hurt them. I think that when we look at those earlier starts, the ones that are 1 o'clock Eastern time, those are the harder ones for a West Coast team to adjust to. So that's even though there's 4 Eastern time zone games, I think that 3 is about as many as they're going to have. But of those 3 early starts, the Giants, the 49ers should beat them if they're still asleep. The Browns, who knows who their quarterback's going to be, so I don't know what's going to happen. Now, that one is, I think, late November, if I remember right. Let me see if I can bring that up. I think, let's see, that one is week 13, so that's November 30th. So it could be a little rainy, possibly snowy, but I mean, we saw in 2023 what happened when the 49ers went to Cleveland and it was raining. It was not a good game, so you can lose to anybody in the NFL. But that game, I would expect them to do pretty well. So let's hope for that. They have 2 other early start games starting at that 1 p.m. Eastern time. But these 2 games are they're in the Central time zone. So they're at the Saints in New Orleans and they're at the Texans in Houston. Both of those cities are in the Central time zone. So that shouldn't hurt the 49ers quite as much because you're only going, 2 time zones instead of 1. So that, to me, that's not as big of a deal. But still, that does make it where they have 5 early start games. And so that I don't like. But, when you talk about the Giants, the Browns, the Saints, those are three teams that they should beat, even if they are having to go into other time zones. The Bucks, that's going to be a tougher one. And then the other one against the Texans. I think the 49ers should still beat the Texans, but that is going to be a tough one. It's going to be interesting to see D'Amico Ryans. Then the next thing that jumped out to me is that after that game against the Houston Texans, the next week is when they are in New York against the Giants. So the question is, will they return to Santa Clara in between those two games, or will they find some place to hang out? I mean, I guess there were 2 or 3 years that they went to West Virginia at some resort place. They used to go to Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, back in the day. I don't think they haven't been there in a while, though. I don't know how many years it's been. Last year, I think that in between that Green Bay and Buffalo game, I think that they came back to the Bay Area. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. Is Jed York going to go the cheap route and say, no, we have to come back? Or is he going to flip the bill for them to go to West Virginia or wherever they want to go? And it kind of depends. I think the players probably want to go back home, but sometimes it's best for them to be off in a situation where they don't have those distractions and they kind of gel as a team a little bit more, maybe unite a little bit more. Sometimes those are good moments for the team, but at the same time, sometimes it's going to benefit them more to have them go back home and be with their families or sleep in their own bed. Those kinds of things are important too. So you kind of have to weigh which one do you think is the best for the team at that point. The 49ers have 5 primetime games. They only have one on Thursday night. That's against the Rams. They play the Falcons on Sunday night, which should be a good game. I think the Falcons are going to be better this year. They play the Panthers on Monday night. I don't know how the Panthers are getting a Monday night game. Maybe they have to give everybody one, but that game's not going to be close. It shouldn't be. That's in San Francisco or in Santa Clara. They have the Colts on Monday night, and again, the Colts are kind of hard to figure out. Sometimes they're really good, and sometimes they're terrible. So that could be an interesting game. Then they have the Bears on Sunday night, and I wonder if the Bears are bad again and they're not competing for the division or for a playoff spot, it's possible that the 49ers and Bears could get flexed out of that Sunday night. So that'll be interesting. Now, the final week of the season, the 49ers are playing the Seahawks. We don't know yet if it's Saturday or Sunday, but it's going to be interesting because at this point on the NFL schedule, I don't think that there's any teams listed for that final Sunday night game. So is it possible that they could flex a team into that Sunday night, flex the 49ers and Seahawks in? We'll have to see how things are coming out. If both teams are fighting for the NFC West or they're fighting for a playoff spot, that might be the most appealing game. And so it's possible that they could, even if they got flexed out against the Bears, they could get flexed in against the Seahawks. So we'll have to see how that comes out. Week 14 is the bye. Seems kind of late for a bye, but hopefully that's going to benefit the team down the stretch as they're going for a playoff spot. I think they'll have 4 weeks after that. And so 4 games to kind of prepare for the playoffs. So hopefully that'll be a good chance for them to rest up, get healthy, and make that final stretch. In 2023, they didn't play well down the stretch. It really seemed to start on Christmas against the Ravens when they just were getting blown out until Sam Darnold started bringing them back. By the way, that's going to be an interesting first game and an interesting final game against the Seahawks with Sam Darnold. But Brock Purdy had a terrible game against the Ravens. And the 49ers just didn't look the same down the stretch. And then they struggled a little bit in the playoffs against the Packers and against the Lions. Now they pulled out both games, but barely. I mean, they didn't play well. And then in the Super Bowl, they played well for part of the time, and then part of the time didn't play well. So that's to me, you want to go into the playoffs really strong and really on fire and rolling. And so hopefully this late season bye will help with that. Interesting that 6 of the last 7 opponents had losing records in 2024. So again, if you're trying to make a late season, postseason run, then that's going to, you have a late bye. You have 6 of your last 7 opponents with losing records last year. Doesn't mean they're going to have losing records this year. They all of those teams could turn things around, but that at least looks well. I think that bodes well for the 49ers down the stretch. We already know they have a last place schedule, and so that benefits them. Hopefully they'll be healthy and playing well. The concern that I think that we all have going in is that there's the potential for, I don't know, 4 rookies to be starting on defense, maybe 5 rookies rotating, maybe even more having a normal role. So is that defense going to be good enough in the early part of the season to get off to a good start? When we look at the schedule, they start off with the Seahawks. I think that's even though this is in Seattle, it benefits the 49ers because Sam Darnold is going to be in his first game against or with his new team. So I think that does benefit the 49ers, and I don't think that the Seahawks are as good as the 49ers. Last year, when the 49ers had problems with them, I think that the running game, the Seattle running game, led to that. And even though Geno Smith made some plays down the stretch, the 49ers defense was sloppy last year. They weren't playing well. If they're better, I mean, they're going to be better because of Robert Saleh. I mean, Robert Saleh's replacing maybe the worst defensive coordinator in the history of the team. And so if that alone is going to help the 49ers defense be better. And just the way they've rebuilt this run defense, I think that's going to benefit them. I think that they win week 1 in New Orleans. So the first 2 games of the season are on the road, but I don't care. They're going to beat the Saints. I don't even know who's going to be their quarterback. Week 3, they come back. Here's the season opener at home. They're facing the Cardinals. They should knock them off. Then the next week they're at home against the Jags. That's going to be ugly. Then I think the first big tests are, I think the Seahawks and even the Cardinals are going to be big tests because they're division games. But to me, the first real test is week 5 against the LA Rams, that Thursday night game. That's in Los Angeles. I know that's Levi's South, and the 49ers crowd's going to be abundant and they're going to be loud, but still, it's this Rams team is really good, and I think that's going to be a tough game. Then in week 6, you go to Tampa to play the Bucs. That's going to be a tough one because the Bucs are a good team. Then you come back home for a Sunday night game against the Atlanta Falcons. So to me, 3 tough games in a row right there, 2 of them on the road, 1 at home. And then you follow that with a trip to Houston to play the Texans. And the Texans they're a little bit like the Colts. 1 week they're really good and 1 week they're not. But I think DeMeco Ryans is going to have his team ready. Still think the 49ers will win that one. Let's see. After that, they go to New York to play the Giants. They'll walk all over them. Then they host the Rams in week 10. So I'm going to say that they're probably going to split with the Rams. Then they go on the road to Arizona to play the Cardinals. They could possibly split with the Cardinals as well. When the Cardinals have Kyler Murray, they're pretty good. Then week 12 on Monday night is when they host the Carolina Panthers. That one's going to be ugly. The Panthers might be the worst team in the league, or at least one of them. Then week 13, they go to Cleveland to play the Browns. As long as it's not raining, I think the 49ers will win that one. Then they have the bye in week 14. Then in week 15, they host the Tennessee Titans. That one should be ugly because the Titans are not any good. Week 16 against the Colts. Let's see, that's in Indy. And then week 17, so the last 2 weeks they're at home. Once against Chicago and the Bears. Man, I like what they've done the last couple of years, but they just haven't really shown themselves on the field. And Caleb Williams, who knows? I mean, he looks the part, but he needs to put it together. He and his offensive weapons, they need to get it together. So I think the 49ers will win that game. I hope that they don't get flexed out because that should be a fun game for the country to see. And then the final game against the Seahawks, that's going to be at home. Last year, the 49ers won in Seattle and lost at home. Hopefully this time they'll sweep the Seahawks because we all hate that team. So it would be great to see them knock them out of the playoffs. I'd like to see them sweep the Rams. I just think that's going to be tough. Same thing with the Cardinals. But, this year the 49ers don't have those teams like the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Bills and some of the teams like Philly and Dallas, some of those teams, not that Dallas has really ever been much of a threat to the 49ers, but they don't have a lot of those premier matchups. So I think their biggest games are going to be those division games. And I like the way the schedule is laid out for the 49ers. I think this is going to be really good for them. Yeah, I like what I see so far. We'll just have to see how that turns out. Hopefully they can stay healthy, and maybe they'll still sign some new guys. I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's all that I wanted. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and go through this. But I'll be live Sunday at 1 o'clock Pacific time. I'm on Central time, so sometimes I have to do the math in my head. But I'll be live at 1 o'clock Pacific time with Anthony Robertson of 49ers Cutback for the Red and Bold show. So come check us out. We would love to talk some 49ers football with you. Thanks, everybody, for checking in, for joining me on this. And I appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, do all that stuff. Really helps us out.